All right, we're checking out another Tesla. We're reacting to another Tesla video on the news. Tesla crushes the EV competition. Rivian, Neo, XPEV, lead delivery report. Let's check it out.
Schwab. Jeff, we want to focus on the car companies. We know that the latest delivery numbers are coming out for Tesla. If they've not already come out, have they come out, and what do you have to report to us now?
Yes, Tesla has released their numbers. We're seeing the stock down just over 2% after they came up shy of expectations. On the delivery side for Q3, Tesla came in at 435,059 vehicles. That's down from the Q2 466,000. So down about 31,000 vehicles altogether. Total production for Q3 came in at 430,488. That's down about 49,000 from what we saw in Q2. Now, some of this was expected. The decline we're seeing here is in part because they had shut down some factories, which they let us know they were going to do. They did that in preparation for the updated Model 3 and the Cybertruck. If we look at some of the past delivery numbers from last year, we're certainly up year over year. And the company said, in terms of their target to deliver 1.8 million vehicles in 2023, they are still on track to do that.
Still on track to do that. And you noted that they did have to shut down those factories. We're looking at, did they actually shut down the Austin and Berlin factories during the time, or was it a system-wide shutdown?
Yes, those are the two factories that they pointed to for shutdown in order to get them prepared for the new vehicles. We've also, of course, in terms of the deliveries numbers, we've seen Tesla really cut prices over the last year several times. The market in terms of EVs have been very competitive. There have been some investors out there and analysts that have questioned some of these price cuts, but Tesla's pointed to it really driving demand. They've also, been able to make these cars available to those federal tax credits that we see that tends to drive some of that demand out there. Earnings are coming in October on the 18th after the bell. I think we're going to hear a lot more about this information on that day.
You know what's really crazy right now? I don't hear any negative negativity about Tesla. It's really refreshing, but we're only 2 minutes in. But yeah, they announced the factory shutdowns for the new Model 3. I'm super jealous. I have a Model 3. I want to get the new updated one. My Model 3 is like 5 years old now, so it's about time for a new one. But I also reserved the Cybertruck, so that's another story. But I heard the Model Y is also going to get that relatively soon, a new update, a refresh for the Model Y. But yeah, they announced the shutdowns and numbers are down, but it was expected. I thought the stock would come down a little bit more, but it only came down 2%, and is it back up now? Let's check. What is it at? Stock is at 427 right now. So yeah, it's a bit higher. So yeah, it didn't really move at all. So I was expecting a big drop because they came below expectations. But I think a lot of Tesla stockholders know at this point. They're like, yeah, they announced the shutdown, so it's down a bit. It was obvious. They said it was going to be, so it is.
You know what I always wonder, Jeff, if Tesla has created difficult comparisons for itself by having that ramp up in production, and then next year it may be a different story. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough year. I mean, if you look at some of the numbers we've seen, Tesla's Q2 revenue, 24.9 billion, that's up 47% year over year. That growth certainly has looked impressive, but it's been a slowdown from what they've seen. In 2021, they saw sales jump 71%. In 2022, they saw them up 51%. So these macroeconomic headwinds, higher interest rates specifically, are certainly putting pressure on these companies. And them being able to cut price is a strength. But it also has made this this market very.
Yeah, I love how when it comes to Tesla, 44 like growing 47% year over year is like a bad thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's not that 47%. That's insane growth for a company. Like I know, the previous year was like in the 70s and like 71%, 51%, but any company, if my YouTube channel grew like 47% year over year, that would be amazing. My other channels, but I like that for Tesla. It's like, oh no, that's bad news. They're only growing 47% this year, even in this economic climate with things being terrible, interest rates being through the roof, higher than ever before. They're still growing that much. So imagine when things stabilize and we have the Cybertruck out. We have the new Model 3, the new Model Y, maybe even the next Model 2. You know, when things stabilize and things are back to normal, people start making money again, interest rates drop. It's just going to be a huge explosion again for Tesla. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Putting pressure on these companies, and then being able to cut price is a strength, but it also has made this this market very tough in the EV market. Their margins are a lot slimmer. Operating margin fell from 14.6% to 9.6% in the last report, and that was a lot to do with those prices getting cut.
You also wonder if the demand is actually still strong for Tesla. Now, we understand what production and deliveries look like, but are people actually wanting more of these vehicles as we go along, or is it a build them and they'll come sort of sales strategy?
Yeah, I think the volume and the demand has stayed relatively strong in the face of a lot of these interest rate headwinds, as well as some of the inflation headwinds we've seen out there. But it is certainly becoming a tougher market, not just because of some of the macroeconomics out there, but also because of China and the big EV names they have there. Certainly in the U.S. as well, we have some strong EV names. We've seen some of the big players out there switching over to EV, really putting a lot of money into it. Tesla has stayed strong as one of the leaders in this area. But the pressure is mounting, and certainly demand is strong for EVs. That still remains the same. That demand is starting to really fan out among the many names that we're seeing hit the EV market.
I'm glad you brought up China, because China car makers also reported their numbers today. What did they come to?
Yeah, we're seeing several of those big EV names reporting large increases in China. NIO, let's start there. They've got September deliveries, which rose 43.8%, coming to 15,641, excuse me. If we look at the breakdown there, about 11,500 SUVs, just over 4,100 sedans. Q3 deliveries up 75.4%, coming in at 55,432. If we look at total deliveries now for NIO, they've now reached about 399,549 vehicles. Let's look at XPEV as well. This is the stock that's really shined year to date, up about 81% coming into today. September deliveries rose 81% year over year, coming in at 15,310. The G6 deliveries hit about 8,132 in September. For total Q3, those deliveries rose 72% quarter over quarter, coming in at 40,008 cars. And then finally, we've got Li Auto. This has been one of the companies that's really shined in terms of delivery numbers. In fact, they just said that there's China's first new energy automaker to reach a milestone of 500,000 vehicles. In Q3, they delivered 105,108. That was up almost 300% year over year.
So Li Auto is becoming some really tough competition for Tesla.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Here's like the the producer in her ear telling her to like apply more pressure to Tesla. Keep talking about Tesla demand and how other companies are coming for them. So they mentioned earlier like the NIOs and XPEV, like 15,000 cars in the quarter, like 50,000 cars in the quarter. That's pretty tiny. You know, you're gonna have, and when you have these tiny numbers and you have year over year production, and it's like it's up, you know, by a little bit, you're going to have these huge percentages that they're going to grow. Similar thing happened with Tesla. So Li Auto is something that I didn't know that they sold so many, delivered 105, almost 300%. Hold on, Li Auto. How much did Li Auto sell? Did I miss something? I thought they said 100,000. They delivered 105,008. That was almost up. Hold on, let me hear that again. Okay, a milestone of 500,000. Yes, total cars. How much did they quarter? 40,000 cars. Okay, so yeah, that's not that many, but still, China, the competition, you know, they actually do have a little bit of competition. Not competition, I wouldn't call it competition, but there are EV startups that like XPEV and stuff that make decent EVs. You know, they're still not competitive with Tesla in terms of how many they sell. All of these companies are losing money on every sale right now. None of them are profitable except for BYD, but NIO, XPEV, and Li Auto, I believe, are all losing money on every sale. So if you have any new information, let me know in the comment section. But I believe they're all losing money, but they're scaling, they're growing, and yeah, that's, Tesla can't be the only car company on the market, right? There's going to be other options, but Tesla is extremely, extremely far ahead in terms of everything, and innovation wise, they're far ahead as well. So yeah, in US there is no EV competition. There's absolutely nothing going on in US and Canada in terms of EV competition compared to Tesla. But yeah, they don't even bother saying that because they know there's nothing.
Really shined in terms of delivery numbers. In fact, they just said that there's China's first new energy automaker to reach a milestone of 500,000 vehicles. In Q3, they delivered 105,108. That was up
Okay.
almost 300% year over year.
Okay, so
Li
that's
Auto
pretty
is
good. Yeah.
becoming
Li
some
Auto.
really tough
I gotta pay
competition
attention to Li
for
Auto.
Tesla.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if we're looking at some of the numbers out here, their sales have grown substantially more than I think a lot of people anticipated out there. If you look at September deliveries, up 212%, coming in at 36,060. That's a new monthly record for the company. And, if we look at the reports, I mean, the company's been doing relatively well. I mean, earnings per share, it was a loss,
What are
but
their
it came in at
margins,
45 cents versus the 36-cent loss expected last time. Revenue, 1.21 billion. That's down 22% year over year, but still, the numbers have come in well. There is a lot of pressure on the
Revenue
pricing as
1
well. That's what
billion?
we're
That's
seeing
it?
across a lot of these companies.
Absolutely. Pressure on pricing, pressure on upping those
Down 22%.
delivery numbers as well.
So they only made like about $1 billion, and they're down 22% in how much money they made. So they're producing more cars, but they're still, $1 billion is not
And
much.
let's look at Rivian, however, because Rivian received an upgrade this morning. So tell us about that.
Yeah, Evercore ISI put Rivian at outperform from in line with the price target at 35 up from 30. They talked a lot about whether or not they're kind of the next Tesla. Is that the question out there? And the analyst doesn't really care for that question, but they do see some similarities that they have made between Tesla and BYD. In this context, the firm thinks that outside of Tesla and BYD, Rivian is the only OEM showing increased evidence of meeting all three criteria. Some of what they're looking at, they're focusing on their brand velocity of the R1S and the R2, to further expand with an SUV and path to 15 to 20% gross margin. They also said that they've executed on both cost and delivery targets. And they're looking forward to seeing a solid production and delivery to be reported in Q3. Those numbers are out, by the way. Q3, Rivian produced 16,304 vehicles. That's up from 13,992 in Q2. They also delivered, deliveries were also up 23% quarter over quarter, coming in at 15,564.
It looks like it might.
So, okay, 16,000 cars they produced. Still no margins. They're on a road, they said, to get 15 to 20% margins, but they're still losing massive amounts of money on every sale of the Rivian. And they're not the next Tesla because they just make cars. That's all they do. They make pickup trucks, and they're going to make the SUV. And I don't think they have other plans to produce batteries and self-driving cars and robo-taxis and all the stuff that Tesla has going on outside of just the vehicles. I don't think Rivian is even thinking about that stuff. So they can't be the next Tesla. If you just want to, some people see Tesla as just a car company, which I think is insane. But yeah, Rivian is not. So it's funny to hear people say that.
I mean, in your opinion, do you think that is the next Tesla, or are you looking at Li Auto or any of the others?
Yeah, this is a tough one because Rivian has certainly had a lot of issues. I mean, they are hitting targets now. They expect to hit their full year target of 52,000. They only need to do about 12,300 vehicles in the next quarter to reach that. They raised that guidance back in August after some of the supply chain issues had started to ease, and that was a big issue for the company. Supply chain really put pressure on Rivian in a way that we didn't see across some of the other EVs. They also improved their EBITDA guidance too, 4.3 billion instead of a loss of 4.2 billion. So the numbers have looked okay, but they have had a lot of struggles. I would say the supply chain issues and inflation hit Rivian pretty hard over the last couple of years.
All right, yeah. So Rivian, this lady, yeah, she doesn't know. They're just talking heads, right? This lady doesn't know anything about Tesla. She just reads, what the producers tell them to do. So it's like one of the most evident cases of, do you think Rivian is the next Tesla? Like, no, they're not. There is no next Tesla. Tesla is the next Tesla, guys. Like, we all know this, but it's frustrating and funny to see the mainstream media talk about it. I think he also knows it too. He just doesn't want to directly answer that question, but it's funny to still hear that, because people want to know how they can get in, right? They want to get into the stock. They want to, buy a cheap stock and have it blow up like Tesla did. But what they don't realize is Tesla is just getting started, with robo taxis, self-driving cars, with the battery business, with in the future, Tesla bot and all the advancements in that. We got the Cybertruck coming out. We got the energy arbitrage. We got the, what is it called? The virtual power plants. Like, Tesla has so much going on. So we know if you want to hold the stock for the long term, it's kind of like an ETF. It's got so many different things going, not just cars. So I don't know about you guys, but let me know. Tesla is the only stock in my portfolio, and I've been buying since 2018. I buy every single month. I buy more stock, take my, what I have left over after bills and mortgage and is paid, put it into Tesla stock. So I've been doing that since 2018, and I'm up quite a bit. I'm going to keep doing that for I don't know how long, but it's going to keep going. But let me know, guys. Are you Tesla stock owners? In the comment section? Have you bought any? You can also buy, you don't have to buy the full share. You can buy partial shares using certain apps. You could buy, $100 worth of a share, $50 worth of a Tesla share. You don't have to have the entire amount. So if you are a Tesla stockholder, let me know in the comment section, because I'm very curious. Also, if you want to help me buy more stock, you can sign up to my Patreon. So I have a Patreon. I'm going to start posting exclusive content there real soon. As soon as I get some more patrons over there, I'm going to start posting there heavy, just as much as I do on YouTube. So expect that coming real soon. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video. That really helps out a small channel like this grow. It helps it in a lot of ways. So commenting, subscribing, and liking the video really helps. All right, until next time, I'll see you later.